All right, everybody, it is 11 o'clock, so um, I can give it a few more minutes, or I can just go ahead and get started with the introductions. Um, my name's Jackie. I am one of the nurses here at Medina Healthcare System, and I do a little bit of our population health work. Um, we have an awesome presentation today from our registered dietitian, Miss Amanda Rothe, and kind of centered around healthy meals, getting back into school, and hopefully everybody walks away with something. And we will be recording this and then sharing it with anybody that attended. So, Amanda, thank you so much for joining us, and
Hi.
thank you for presenting today.
Hi. Thanks so much for having me. Like Jackie said, I'm Amanda Rode. I'm the dietitian and certified diabetes educator. And today we get to talk about school starting and trying to get back into a routine. It seems like summer just kind of flies by. I actually thrive on routine and structure and planning ahead. When I don't plan ahead, then it's kind of chaotic and stressful. And I feel like it's probably the same for most of you parents out there. If you don't plan ahead, then mealtime can be very stressful and we end up at the fast food restaurant because we didn't plan accordingly. So with the kids back in school, it's a great time to transition, get organized, and get our schedules down so that we know what we're going to eat and when we're going to eat it. So today we're going to start with breakfast. And so I can't stress enough the importance of breakfast. Setting your kids up for good nutrition at the beginning of the day is going to help them to concentrate during school. It's going to help them to focus and learn better. It's going to keep their tummies full from breakfast all the way till lunchtime. So it's super important that they get a good nutritious breakfast, whether that's the school breakfast or you're preparing the breakfast at home. And if you're preparing the breakfast at home, we want three kind of key components. We want some kind of protein, we want some kind of whole grain, and then we want some kind of fiber, whether it's fruit or vegetables or whatever the case may be. So if you plan ahead, you can make breakfast time not as stressful. It's important to get those kids up a little bit earlier so that they have time to eat breakfast. And then we always want to include protein. You're going to hear me say the word protein a lot. And that's because protein takes a little bit longer to digest. It helps to build and repair tissues for your kids and build muscle. And it's going to stay in their tummies from breakfast all the way till lunch. So it's really important to get a good 15-20 grams of protein at breakfast for your small children. For older children, it may even be 30 grams of protein. So we always want to have some kind of protein. Examples might be eggs, turkey, sausage, cheese, cottage cheese, Greek yogurt, some kind of protein incorporated into their breakfast. Then we also need some kind of whole grain. Maybe that's whole grain bread, maybe that's a high fiber wrap or tortilla, maybe it's beans, but making sure that you've got the whole grain group in there because that's going to also give them fiber and stay with them. And then I always try to tell patients and kids to choose the fresh fruit rather than juice. Because the fresh fruit has more fiber, it's going to take a little bit longer to break down. Sometimes that juice is just kind of like sugar water. So some good examples of breakfast might be eggs and toast. Scrambled eggs take no time at all to make. So you could make some scrambled eggs and have 2 pieces of whole wheat toast. You could do some Greek yogurt and berries. You could make ahead breakfast burritos with some eggs and ham and cheese and throw it in a high fiber tortilla and freeze those things and have easy to grab breakfast on the go, or maybe even supper if you didn't plan ahead for supper. You can make already made you can make a head breakfast, egg muffins or a breakfast casserole. Or if you're doing the cereal for breakfast, make sure it's super high fiber or has some protein in it. Growing up, my kids knew that they could only have, we call it everyday cereal, which either had 10 grams of protein or 5 grams of fiber. And that kind of eliminated the cinnamon toast crunch and the Fruit Loops, which was just sugar and it was only going to stay with them for like an hour and a half. I had a child with ADHD, and if I would send them to school with just sugar, they were going to have a really hard time focusing at school. So it was really important to have some good fat or some protein along with their breakfast, so that they could stay concentrating in school and not be bouncing around their desks during school time. Next is school lunches. So same components as breakfast. We want to have some kind of protein. We want to have some kind of whole grain. We want to have some kind of fresh fruit, but then we're just adding in the vegetables. So you can kind of see, kind of thinking about that plate, having all the different food groups can really help your child to get the vitamins and nutrients that they need, but also lots of color and flavor and things that they need to stay healthy. So when it comes to whole grains, that might be some whole grain bread or a high fiber wrap or whole grain crackers or a whole wheat pasta. You could make a pasta salad and send that to school, and then add some kind of good protein. Maybe that's leftover chicken cooked from the night before. Maybe it's a good amount of ham or turkey on their sandwich. We don't want their sandwich to be super thin because then there's not enough protein there to stay with them from one meal to the next. You could make tuna salad, chicken salad, egg salad, and then add a fresh fruit and some vegetables. Raw veggies with a Greek yogurt dip would be a great way to get in those vegetables there during the day. If they're eating the school lunch, again, concentrate on picking the thing with the most protein, adding in a vegetable. I looked at the school lunches. They all have a vegetable option every single day. So picking that vegetable and then picking the fresh fruit as dessert. If they're drinking milk during the day at breakfast and lunch, then at home, we really want to focus on hydration and water. So nowadays, they all have the fancy water bottles that they're taking to school, but we want to promote hydration and we want it to just be water as much as possible. We don't want everything to have a flavor, and sugar is very addictive. So if you're drinking a lot of sugary waters or juices, then you expect everything to have kind of a lot of flavor, and we really want you to drink water. So promoting water, keeping a cold water in the fridge, or if you have a fancy fridge, but always having some kind of water there for them to consume or drink. Sometimes they may feel like they're hungry and they're actually thirsty. So really making sure that you're offering enough water throughout the day or right when they get home from school. So speaking of getting home from school, the hardest part of the day sometimes is snack time. So when your kids get home from school, they're starving. 3 or 4 o'clock, they haven't eaten in a few hours. They may have not eaten because they wanted to go to recess. So they're starving. This is a great time to incorporate more fruits and vegetables, or especially vegetables. They'll eat anything when they're hungry. So offering them some raw veggies and dip, cutting up some fresh fruit, having the snack should be small, unless you are finding that they're just starving and you're home and you have the ability to feed them supper early. Sometimes I encourage patients or clients to swap. They have a good sized dinner at 4 o'clock and then have a light snack at 3:30, or sorry, 7:30 or 8, when the family would normally be eating a meal, just because the kids are so hungry in the afternoon. But if you can't do that, you work or your kids have after school activities, then I would definitely encourage you to plan ahead for your snacks, and they should be small. They're going to eat again in 2 hours. So a string cheese and an apple, some homemade popcorn and some pecans or nuts, homemade granola bars, a trail mix with a piece of fruit on the side. But just kind of think of some easy snacks. You could make ahead peanut butter sandwiches and freeze them. You can make your own Uncrustables. I know, it's crazy, right? But you could make a peanut butter sandwich on a whole wheat toast or whole wheat bread and freeze them just like the Uncrustables that you buy at the grocery store. It's cheaper and it has more peanut butter in it, so it's healthier. So think about what's going to work for you for snack time. But again, most of the time, the snack should be small because they're going to eat again in a few hours. If you know you've got crazy sports schedules or all kinds of activities after school, then you may have to plan ahead and have an early supper and then a snack when you get home. But if you're having supper at 6:30 or 7, they don't need a whole Little Caesars pizza or the meal deal from McDonald's for their afternoon snack. So just kind of be prepared and plan ahead. They may be grumpy, they may be starving, so having a snack ready is going to make it better. Then we think about dinners. So if you plan ahead, dinner time doesn't have to be stressful. You can do simple things like batch cook proteins and add a vegetable and a starch to it for an easy meal. Have a list of some easy things that you can do when you are busy, and keep some things in the freezer or in the pantry that you can throw a meal together really, really quickly. If you don't plan, that's when your stomach does the picking. And that's when you end up at McDonald's or the taqueria picking up some not so healthy options for supper. And that not only costs more money, but it does take a lot of time to get in the car, go to the fast food restaurant, get the food. In 20 minutes, you could make a whole meal. But in making those good and easy dinners, it just takes a little bit of planning. Each week, I kind of buy 2 or 3 types of protein and prepare them so that I can make some easy meals. So that might be I cook chicken and then I use it several different ways. Maybe I make an egg roll in a bowl one night, and then the next night I make chicken tacos, and then the next night I saute the chicken and throw it on top of a salad for a chicken taco salad. So if you prep it correctly, you could use it multiple ways. Proteins, if prepared, can last about 4 days in the refrigerator. And then if you prep them different ways, it's not like you're eating leftovers, you're eating 4 separate meals. I always keep key ingredients in the house. So things like eggs, chicken broth, beef broth, pastas, canned vegetables, frozen vegetables. You can buy a lot of frozen vegetables and keep them in the freezer. That way they're not going to rot if you don't get to them by Thursday. So sometimes we have good intentions and we buy a lot of groceries, and then life happens. Things get busy. We have soccer practice. We have all the things, and we just simply don't have time to prep the meals or make the homemade salad or cut up the raw vegetables. Frozen vegetables are always there. And so one of my things that I use a lot of is cauliflower. And let me just tell you, I never liked cauliflower growing up, but cauliflower is a great stretcher. You can throw it into ground hamburger meat and make your hamburger meat go further for tacos. You can throw it into a stir fry and it's like it's rice for like an oriental type dish. You can add it to your rice to kind of sneak in some vegetables. It's just a great filler. And it's a great way, if your kids don't like a lot of vegetables, it's a great way to incorporate some vegetables into their diets. You can also buy frozen okra or stewed tomatoes and blend them into like your pasta sauces to kind of sneak in some vegetables that way. But it really takes a little bit of time and not a lot of effort to throw some of these things into your meals. Sometimes I'll also throw vegetables into the air fryer so they get crispy, and then you can add them to the top of a salad, or kids may more likely to eat them if they are crispy. So just kind of think about those things ahead of time. I like to keep a list of what we have planned for the week on the refrigerator, and that way the kids kind of know what's coming up, what the options are. You know, this week we have egg roll in a bowl, we have crock pot chicken, and we're going to serve that on top of rice or cauliflower. I'm going to make a taco salad, and that's really popular because you can cook ahead a whole bunch of ground meat or a whole bunch of ground chicken or a whole bunch of shrimp, and then you can put lettuce and bell peppers and onion and pico de gallo and guacamole, and they can kind of make their own taco salad for a meal. The egg roll in a bowl, I'm going to give you guys a recipe for, but you can do that a multitude of ways. But basically, I like to take some kind of ground beef or ground turkey or shrimp, and then I add in whatever vegetables I have left over from the week. Maybe it's sauteed cauliflower, maybe it's a bag of leftover coleslaw, cabbage, maybe it's broccoli, and throw it all together and add in some soy sauce, and then you can serve it over rice or cauliflower rice and have a quick and easy meal. You can also do Mediterranean type bowls where you cook ahead chicken breasts or shrimp and then throw in salad mixes, feta cheeses, black olives, and make a Mediterranean bowl. We tend to have taco salad of some sort at least once a week at our house, just because it's a favorite and it's great for leftovers as far as taking it to another meal. Another easy, simple thing is keeping frozen shrimp in the freezer. You can literally cook that in 10 minutes and make shrimp tacos or grilled shrimp alongside a steamed vegetable, and that can be an easy meal. Stuffed bell peppers, another easy thing. Also, my crock pot. It's my best friend. So especially in the winter months, I will start a crock pot meal on a regular basis. And so you can throw 4 or 5 chicken breasts in the crock pot, add a jar of Verde sauce or add Rotel and cook it 4 to 6 hours, or you could cook it all day on low, and then you can make a meal out of that. I also buy a lot of frozen onion, frozen bell pepper that's already chopped, because then I can throw together a meal in 5 minutes in the morning before I leave for work, and it's ready when we get home. So if you guys have a busy work schedule or your kids have busy activity schedules, dinner is ready, the house smells amazing, and you have an easy protein that you can add to meals. You can also do that on the weekends and then refrigerate it and have easy proteins to mix with things to make some meals work for you. I will also give you some recipes for like pork carnitas and egg frittatas. Breakfast for supper is super easy. And so when in doubt, I usually have eggs on hand. And so I can throw together either a breakfast casserole or an egg frittata really, really quickly, and it's a family favorite. So just kind of a little bit of planning ahead, a little bit of preparation on the weekends or the night before can make your mornings and make your entire day a lot easier. It does take a little bit of work, but it's definitely worth it. I know this week I didn't plan one day, and so I was like, do y'all want to just order pizza? And my daughter was like, no, we can throw together this meal really quickly. So if you have some items on hand that you can throw a meal together, it really makes it a lot easier. I'm going to give you some recipes for some sheet pan meals, easy make ahead breakfasts, and all the things. But you just really need to do a little bit of planning one day a week, and the whole week goes much better. If you don't plan, you got behind and you don't plan, then think about what you can grab and go. Could you pick up a rotisserie chicken and a bag salad and make a 5-minute or 3-minute rice for dinner? Could you pick up barbecued meat and then add 2 vegetables to it for dinner? So there's always ways around if you didn't plan, but kind of know where your go-tos are so that you can still make healthy choices. I am happy to answer any questions that you may have. If you signed on to this program, they're going to send you some recipes from me as well. And then if you have any questions, feel free to ask or reach out to me, and I will happily help you over the phone or over email. All right, so let me turn it over back to Jackie.
Thank you so much, Amanda. I appreciate it. It's always so great. I feel like I learn something new every time. I was taking notes alongside while you were mentioning. So it's awesome. Thank you so much. If anybody has questions, I'll leave it open kind of for a few minutes, just to kind of give everybody a chance. And then if not, I'll say we'll go ahead and close it up maybe around 11:25, unless anybody else has something to say. So, but thank you so much, Amanda. It was wonderful. I especially loved, I'm a cereal lover, so I love the part about making sure that there's either a good protein or a good amount of fiber in there, because that's
my kids were not fans, but it does help.
Yes. And we love the chicken crock pot tacos. Those are so good and they're so easy.
Yes, I make that once a week almost.
Yes. we took it to my brother and sister-in-law's house the other week because they just had their second baby, and I was like, oh, this will be an easy one. It'll make a ton of leftovers, and I brought it over there, and I was putting it in the fridge for him, and then I was like, wait a minute, do y'all already have some? She was like, oh yeah, we made it on Monday, and I was like, you could have told me. I would have brought something different.
Oh gosh. Yeah, my crock pot is my best friend. I can definitely make an easy meal. My husband calls it lazy cooking, but I don't care because I like to prep ahead of time and then come home and I can throw things together. Or sometimes he'll grill on the weekends and he'll grill a bunch of chicken and some sausage and some pork chops. And then I'll throw a vegetable on a side alongside of it, and it makes for an easy meal.
Yeah, that's awesome. I didn't think about the grilling component too. That's a good way, like you mentioned, for the weekends, just to have you could cook a bunch at one time and then put it in the fridge and pull it out during the week. That's a great
Yes.
idea.
It saves me a lot of times. I get spoiled sometimes when he does grill, because then when he doesn't, I'm like, oh, I have to do all the meal planning this week.
Right. Absolutely. I know my husband likes to grill too, but everything that he wants to grill or that we want him to grill is always like the bad stuff, like brisket or like pork or something. And it's like, I guess we should switch it to chicken or
You could try some chicken breasts or some pork loin
yeah.
or some really good fajitas. There's a lot
Oh,
of,
that sounds good.
lean and healthy meats that you can do.
Awesome. That sounds great. Well, now I'm getting hungry and it's perfect because it's just about to be lunch.
Yes, thank goodness.
Well, perfect. Awesome. I don't see any questions. So I think we'll just call it from there if everybody's okay with that.
All right. Well, like I said, if they have questions, they can reach out to you or online, and I can definitely follow back up with them.
Perfect. Awesome. Okay. Thank you so much, Amanda, for your
All right.
presentation. And thank you, everybody, for joining.
Thanks so much.
Bye.
Bye.